Good morning. So we are on Lafayette. We just got off of what highway was that, babe?
55 North.
Okay, so today, can you tell everybody where we going?
We are going to the site of the Pruitt-Igoe Housing Project.
Now that one that's a long story. That one.
The
Pruitt-Igoe is a long tale. It didn't even last that long, but it's a long story behind it.
Yes, it was a gripping tale of race, of different economic situations and backgrounds. It's a tale.
Yeah, crazy. This is Lafayette Park.
It's a part of St. Louis history.
It is. So I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit about the Pruitt-Igoes. We're gonna be doing a bunch of telling y'all about the Pruitt-Igoes because it's a long story. But the Pruitt-Igoes was a complex that sat on 57 acres. It had 33 11-story towers. Okay, and I'm gonna pull up a picture of them so you can see them. And this is what they look like. As you can see that. They look cool to me, but I mean, it looks that's different. Okay, so we coming up on Jefferson, which is where the project was located. But it was built in 1954, and it was designed by Minwon Yamasaki. He's the same guy who designed the Twin Towers in New York. So the buildings were 170 feet long. Most had between 80 to 90 apartments with a total of 2,870 combined. So breaking it down, there were 1,736 in the Pruitt, and 1,132 in the Igoe. Okay, the Pruitt was actually built for black residents, and it was named after, let me get this guy's name because y'all need to know his name. His name was William Oliver Pruitt. He was a Tuskegee Airman who attended Sumner. He also attended Lincoln University in Jefferson City. What's up, Lincoln University? But he was killed in a training exercise in 1945. So they decided to name the Pruitt side off him. And the Igoe side was named after a white former Democratic U.S. congressman. So, as I said, the Pruitt was for black residents, and the white was the Igoe was for white residents. They stayed segregated until 1955. So that was in a lot of people's lifetimes. Mm-hmm. It was still segregated down here. Okay, the apartments were designed to be small, with only a few units designed for larger families. So if you got in one of the smaller places and then you had kids, you quickly outgrew that apartment.
That was the design.
Yes, and they were designed that way.
Lower rent, you could save money.
Mm-hmm.
And by that time, you could buy your home.
Right. What was really weird, though, was the elevators were skip stop. I didn't know this one. Meaning that they only stopped on the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th floor. Now, the designer said that it was to relieve congestion, elevator congestion, but later on, it became a way for people to be robbed. So people would wait at the elevator, at the elevators, right, and then just wait for you to get off and rob you. It was easy.
Or you had to you would have to get off and take the steps in between.
Yeah, so
that was dangerous too.
Mm-hmm. And then landscaping ended up being omitted, so they had no beautiful flowers. All of this was supposed to be put into the Pruitt-Igoe, but they ended up coming up with what do you call that when they run out of money? Budget issues.
Yeah, budget problems.
And they cut a lot of things that they were planning on putting in the project, and that included on building. So yeah, so as we heading down here, I'm gonna start another video so this is Union Station, you can see down here, and I'm gonna tell you guys about the rent payments, how much it was to live there, and the eventual demise. But we are heading down to the Pruitt-Igoe, and we probably about less than 5 minutes away.
A couple of miles.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Okay, so we are still on Jefferson, headed down to the Pruitt-Igoe, and this is called the Jeff Vanderloo area. We've already been, we drove around here once. We didn't really get into detail about the area, but this is one of the only areas in the city that blacks could own land. So we were talking about the Pruitt-Igoe. So the first tenants arrived. This is Carr Lane School, so this had to be a black school as well. Yeah, I used to drive a school bus for like 2 weeks, and I worked. This was one of my stops. The kids were so bad, I just was like, I can't do it, and I quit. That was when I was like, what, 19 or something? I was really young. I don't know what I was thinking.
Fresh married.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
Spoiler, you got a CDL out of it.
Yeah, I did. I think this is the old site of the Pruitt-Igoe up here because the new hospital sits here. Yes, this was the site of the Pruitt-Igoe. Pruitt first tenants arrived in 1957. I mean, in 1954. You could just drive around on the side.
I know, I'm just letting these cars by.
As many as 40% of the new residents were white. But by the mid-60s, they were exclusively black. And then this is the new Homer G, but it's closed already.
I think this is part of it too.
And this was the site.
Right.
This whole corner is where the Pruitt-Igoe sat. This entire corner here was, which would be about, what did I say, how many acres?
57.
57 acres.
So Cass on the north. This was the back border.
Right.
Cass, Jefferson.
So what we're going to do is park and get out. But let me tell you guys a little bit more before I get out. Okay, by 1955, just 4 years after opening, the buildings were already in disrepair. A 1959 audit reported that most of the damage was being done by vagrants, not residents. The housing authority stopped doing repairs. However, rent continued to increase. It went from $20 a month in 1952 to $58 a month in 1968. And the tenants were beginning to be charged for basic services like repairing locks and fuses. Okay, so fatherless homes was attributed to most of the crime in the area. The housing authority passed laws in which black men were prohibited from living in these apartments. A census taken in 1965 found that 69% were minors that lived in these apartments. Okay, and then less than 30% of those had both parents in the home. So it was set up to be that way, where you could not have a father in your home. Okay, y'all. Black men are not absent. That's a myth. That's not true. But you know, that's what's been passed down through the years. They were not allowed to live in the home with their kids. How sad is that?
And can I say something? So like, I firsthand know this within a housing project. I spent like half my life in the Peabodys, you know, with my cousin. And it was lit, like you said, all children, one mother, 7 kids, one mother in a home, because you say no father can live in there. So then you got all these children and one mother. Yeah. So the kids are running, you know, it's by design.
It is. So I'm finna get out, but the buildings fell into disrepair and they began to demolish the buildings in March of 1962. The last tenants moved out in May of 74 and it was completely cleared by July of 1976. It costed $3.5 million to tear down the Pruitt-Igoes. And it was the first major housing project in the United States to ever be torn down. So that is messed up. But okay, we're gonna get out and walk around, and then we're gonna tell y'all a little bit about this nuclear testing they was doing in a lot of the neighborhoods back in the 50s and 60s. I would have to say 70s and 80s, but that's just from my memory.
80s,
but
I remember.
So yeah, we're gonna get out, walk around a little bit, and talk to y'all. So all right.
I put that in the 60s.
Yeah, so we are out of the car, we're looking around, so we're gonna walk around. But they were doing like nuclear testing over here, and you were saying you remember some things when you were growing up, right?
Well, when we was kids in the neighborhood down there, in the 80s, you know, they would come by. Now, I don't know if this happened anywhere else in anybody else's neighborhood, but they'd come by with just a plain white pickup, and it had a tank on the back with like a atomizer sprayer. And they would just come by spraying this plume of mist out, and we'd be running by it and looking at these guys. They're smiling and waving at you, but you know, it was a rumor that it was mosquito spray, but what was this stuff? You know, we don't know.
Well, they say in the mid-50s, the U.S. government sprayed zinc cadmium. Is that what it's called?
Zinc cadmium?
Cadmium sulfate. Yeah. From planes, motorized blowers, and station wagons. And then they did it again a decade later, and they called this Operation LAC. Similar testing was performed in other urban areas as well. And you got to remember, in the 50s, when the Pruitt-Igoes was here, it was white and black residents. So they were poisoning both folks because they really didn't care.
But at some point,
the
white one was empty.
Right, but still, if they did this in the 50s,
they
were
here.
They were here when they did that.
Right.
And then this stuff would make you angry. People would fight. They would become violent.
Yeah.
And they knew this.
Right.
And, you know, they were just doing experiments on humans, which is insane. And so you got to remember, too, these things are radioactive. So it's still here in this site somewhere.
Right.
It should still be some down here.
It should be in the soil.
I mean, it's the same thing they did out there in the creek. What's the name of that?
Oh,
Cold Creek.
Out there by the Bell Fountain.
In North County.
Bell Fountain.
Yeah, now this is the parking. They built this parking lot here for the hospital. So I'm wondering, was this like this? Was the This was from the Pruitt-Igoe days here? Yeah, where it would have turned up into a street that went back here.
A road.
I think that's what that is.
Buildings in a rectangle over from Cass down Jefferson.
And then it's like metal over in here.
I bet this is original.
You see, like it's like rusted metal over in there. But look how big this is. This was the site of the Pruitt-Igoes. There's nothing here now.
And these were 11 stories, all of them, 11 stories tall?
I think so.
And you said 33 buildings?
Yep.
Yeah, that was quite something to see.
Yeah.
Quite a sight.
So, yeah.
It was like a city within a city.
Yeah, that's what it was meant to be. And then they built it and they didn't maintenance it. They just didn't do any repairs. They stopped doing repairs. And
I wonder, was it
that's
like
the new
shopping and
Homer
retail
G.
stuff at the bottom of it?
No, it was supposed to be shops and stuff in there, and they didn't do it. Yeah, so that was another thing, because they said that they couldn't pull money from the building in any way, because you could have had shops down there and been getting money off.
Store.
And they just never did it. Like I told y'all, they cut the costs.
Keep people healthy.
Yeah, they basically they took the money. They said it was because they went into the Korean War and they didn't have the money to build it, but they cut corners when they were building the property. It was supposed to be these rooms where you could go and hang out. That was like really nice.
Yeah, social rooms.
Yeah, and they cut corners on there, and they said that it ended up being like drug dealers and gang members that would hang out in those corners, so it's like it was a manufactured environment, and it was not a good one.
Project.
Yeah, so this is can you imagine some of the stuff that went on here?
It was literally a project.
Yeah. And then the police were scared to go in there. That's what my mother said. But it's not like you were scared to go in there. They just didn't go in. I mean, it's the police.
Right. It's just,
so,
don't put police
they just didn't go in.
An area and crime takes over.
Right.
It's that's just 1 + 1.
Yeah. So we are heading back to the car, and then we are going to go to this, what is the name of this? Is it Falstaff? You can see the factory tower over here. Let me see if I can zoom in. Right there. We heading over there next. All right, y'all. What is this? The Spatial Center?
This is the Geospatial Center.
Geospatial Center.
Supposed to be. I guess they waiting on clearance and different permits and shit.
Huh. Okay, so here are my finished peach crisp cupcakes. So what I want to do next, I made that ice in there, and then now I'm just going to drizzle some icing on, because you can't have peach crisp without some kind of icing, right? What you think?
You know you can't have no peach crisp without no icing on it.
Are you going to try one of these now, or you want to wait till later?
Yeah, later.
All right, so I'm getting my cupcakes iced here. I'm dripping icing all on my stove.
Let it sit there and set.
Now don't worry, y'all gonna get to see what these look like, and he gonna tell you what they taste like.
Set up, get real sexy.
These came out pretty nice. So there's peaches, fresh peach in each cupcake. You go down in there, as soon as you break down in that cupcake, it's got all peaches. And then we got a nice streusel topping with granola and a homemade icing.
You're very talented.
All right, y'all, here. What you say?
You're very talented.
So are you. And these are the finished peach cobbler or peach crisp cupcakes. Okay, so we're gonna be trying these later, but this is our date night in Colorado dessert. They have the Palisade peach. So I made peach cupcakes. All right, y'all. Okay, so I'm gonna move my buns. My husband is going to try one of these cupcakes. So he'll let you guys know what they taste like. And then I'm gonna leave you guys with him. I'm gonna get in the shower. You can just use a spoon and eat it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got my milk.
Yeah, I'm gonna get in the shower, guys, and he's gonna make the hamburgers, and I'll be back. I want to see what it looks like too. Oh wow, they look good.
Yep.
Let them see. Oh, they look good.
Smell like peach cobbler and cake and icing at the same time. Mmm. Oh.
Is it good?
Oh, that's like a hug on the inside. A hug of warm peach goodness. Mm.
That look good. Look at that.
Mm.
Look down there. You see them peaches and fresh peaches. I'm gonna try a little piece.
That's like peach cobbler, man.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah. Glad I got this milk here.
Wow.
Let me see something. Mm.
Look down in there.
Mm.
See them peaches? That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Do Denver know dessert?
Huh?
Denver. This is from Colorado.
Oh. You better say Colorado no dessert.
Wow, that's good. So I'm gonna actually eat one of them for dessert, a whole one.
Shit, this will
Okay,
be before dinner snack.
All right, y'all. So I'm gonna go get in the shower. I will see you guys when I get out, and when we put together those burgers.
Mm-hmm.